Alright, hi. So this is a little bit of an off-the-cuff video. I didn't write a script for this or anything. I just had a pet project for the last few days and I wanted to talk about it because I think it's very interesting. So how did this start? I was sitting on the balcony with my roommate and we talked about weird fanfiction pairings because we don't have hobbies, right? And the weirdest we could come up with, and I think we came up with like Karl Marx and the main character from Haikyuu or something, which exists, and that sounds rad. Honestly, I mean, I would read it if I had the time. But anyways, we went our merry way, and I just kept thinking about it, and I was sitting later on at my desk, and I thought to myself, hey, wait a minute, I can just do that, right? I know how to write like 3 lines of code. I think I have this figured out. Also, I had just watched a video about a graph of all the links between different Wikipedia articles, which I thought was very funny, so I wanted to do something similar. So I looked online, and luckily the people, the administrators from Archive of Our Own are amazing, and they provided a giant metadata dump for all their fanfictions, which is like, even as a zip file, 400 plus megabytes large. And those are 2 CSV files which give you all the tags for the different fanfictions. And this looks a little bit like this. I have to open it at VS Code because it's so big, spoiler. And it looks like this. So you have your creation date, when the fanfiction was written, the language it was written in, restricted, if the fanfiction is complete, how many words it has, and the tags. All of this data here is pretty much useless for me. It's probably very interesting as well for people who want to analyze it. In those regards, I didn't do that. I was more interested in the links between the tags. But you can see, right, it stops at 2021, so this metadata dump is from 2008 to 2021. And what you can also see is that there are many, like very many fanfictions, more than 7 million, going all the way back to 2008, and they all have those tags associated with them. They are just in like an ID form here. So this is stored right here. Those are the tags. You have your ID corresponding to those IDs over here. Then you have a type. Is it a media? Is it a character? Is it like free form, a relationship, whatever? You then have the name. So this would be, for example, John Winchester. Okay, that makes sense that it's all the way up here. Then also, like, is it canonical? Is it cached? Not interested in this. Then there also is this merger ID where you say, okay, you have like two tags which are pretty much identical, which represent the same thing. For example, you could say John Winchester and John Winchester in parentheses Supernatural. They represent the same thing, right? So those would be merged together. You have to consider all of that, and also you have to consider that this is also incredibly long. So this is 14.5 million individual tags. A lot of them are redacted, mainly in the free form. Those are, I don't know, I mean, it's redacted. This is all the tags. Using all this information, though, you can just write a little script which combines the information provided here, so the tag IDs for each fanfiction with the different tags over here, and you get little code, right? It's not much. It's just analyzing the CSV files, getting the tags and the IDs related to one another, filtering out, going here through the fan fictions where you can isolate, for example, the characters only. You can eliminate redacted tags, stuff like that, right? You go through it, create pairings. Don't want to go into any detail here, but so you get character pairings, for example, here, where you can say, okay, character A and character B appear in the same fanfiction, they get a link. You can do all of that because then there is this great program called Gephi, which you can use, which creates graphs for you. So you can do all of this coding, yada yada. Not a lot of work, honestly. It's like an afternoon's worth, and then you can throw that into Gephi, which implements this as an undirected graph. It looks then something like this. You have your all your information here as well, and like a data laboratory. You can also look at the graph itself. It looks chaotic in here, but you can print it then very nicely in great detail. One problem though, Gephi, it's a great software, it's free, it's open source, all of that. It is able to work with a lot of data, but like the fanfiction writers are just too prolific, and they have created so many tags. I have already shown you 14.5 million, and this is too much for the program. So I had to cut myself short to 250,000 of individual fan fictions, which still produces like 1 million edges. So 1 million individual links between two characters. Doing all of that, I ended up with this plot where you can see like the names you would expect, right? Harry Potter, Marvel, Percy Jackson, DC, all of the classical stuff. Also a lot of anime, which I don't particularly know, a lot of K-pop, where I'm also not too familiar with, and then down here a lot of gaming and Dream SMP, and it was a lot, and the reason for that is because I only used 250,000 and I didn't think about it. I just used the fanfictions from the year 2021, which is Lockdown Degeneracy, right? I mean, look how big Sun's Undertale is. You can read it from here. So that's fine. That's fine to look at. But what I wanted to see is like the degeneracy through the ages. So looking at all the fanfictions. And you can see that there's a shift, right? So the Dream SMP and stuff like that is a lot smaller. It's still there, you can still find it, but also Marvel, Supernatural, for example, has grown dramatically. Harry Potter, DC is here. Game of Thrones is here, which wasn't present in this extent in the 2021 graph, because Game of Thrones was killed before that. Also still a lot of anime, still a lot of K-pop, and you can go in here, right? You can zoom in and just look at like individual here a lot of Formula One, don't ask me why. But you can go in and look at characters which are mentioned in very small to very small extent, like Elton John or Ed's World or whatever, and you can just spend hours going through it, look at different interaction between different characters, find pairings which make sense and pairings which don't make sense. But what is also to mention here is those are all connected, right? All the different nodes eventually lead to one another, which I think is really cool. I had to eliminate the ones that don't do that, because otherwise it would be too much. I also had to cut out a lot of the characters because it was too many characters actually. So I used characters, all the characters you see here appear at least 10 times, I think it was, which is crazy. And the ones that don't, I have put in a separate, less nice to look at plot where they are also represented. And you can go in and see like, okay, here you have maybe less popular characters, but you still have a few that probably, like, where was it? I remember seeing I remember seeing like Ratchet and Clank right next to New Girl, right next to Cats the musical. I don't know. So there is a lot of stuff to discover here as well, which is very interesting. But then I wanted to see, okay, if we go into, let's return here into the main character plot, what is the longest that two characters are removed from one another? So if two characters share a direct edge, that means they are appearing in the same fanfiction. And the further they are away from another, the longer it would take to get from one character to another via fanfictions. A little bit like the Wikipedia game, if you're familiar with that. And I wanted to find that, and the longest one I found is this one, going from the Chinese TV host, Kang Hui, all the way to a Chinese, I think it's a model or an actor, Deng Lun. And it goes this entire way. And right in the middle, there's Severus Snape, then there's Jack, Nick Fury, and Happy, and then right back into like Chinese TV shows. Very cool. It's 19 characters long. This is the longest one I found. Now here, it is important to remember that the database is incomplete. So maybe in the majority of fanfictions, which I didn't consider, there's like a direct link between the two of them. And maybe there's like going through all of them, like all the fanfictions, you will find characters or two characters which are even further removed from one another. So they have a even larger eccentricity. I don't know. It's unknowable until I analyze the whole data, but that it's like an order of magnitude more. So I don't think I'll be able to do that. Yeah, this is characters, but what AO3 is also very much famous for is relationships themselves. And you can see them right here. So this is all the pairings which are given, and also the relation between the pairings, so which two pairings appear together. So, for example, if you read a fanfiction where Castiel and Dean Winchester are a thing, then in the same fanfiction, Gabriel and Sam Winchester are probably also a thing. For example, right? So you can see there's a strong link between the two. And that makes sense that the relations are, again, mainly between like characters in the same media. So Supernatural example here, or this giant blob, which is all of this is Game of Thrones. And again, you have like a lot of anime, you have a lot of this is all Marvel, Harry Potter's down here, so a lot of the same stuff you can also explore here. Yeah, it's very interesting to look through this. Also, I don't know if I already mentioned it, but the colors, those are modularity classes. So those are what there's an algorithm in Gephi. If you go to the statistics tab here, there's this modularity which tries to find families of where are we here? Families of characters or relationships in this case which belong together. So for example, it assesses correctly that Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter as a pairing is in the same broad Harry Potter related category as James Potter and Lily Evans Potter, and it works mostly, but like there's also stuff where it misses. So I think I remember also finding like, what was it? Like Skyrim characters, yeah, right? So there's also Skyrim characters categorized in the Harry Potter, and I don't know if it's like there's a lot of fanfictions which relate to two of them, or if it's just misconstruing relations. I don't know, but it seems to work for most cases. This is relation, and then there's the third big thing, I think, which is interesting. This is freeform. And I can't zoom into this one. Like here, it's interesting to look into the fine granular detail and look at this for hours on end. And I would love to do that for you for the freeform as well. But yeah, this would get me age restricted. So we look at it from far above and just imagine what we could find here in terms of words, right? So I can give you the broad category. So lilac, that's fluff, like that's nice feel good type tags. Then here in turquoise down here is the counterpart. That this is angst, Then here you have like a gray-ish color. This is platonic stuff like friendship, family, cute stuff like this. In the middle there's a little bit of pink. This is alternative universe information text. So this is more bookkeeping. Then here in darker blue you have your your violence tags, your trigger warning tags, and also a lot of very specific gore tags. And then in lime up here you have your smut. Like you start out in the middle a little bit more vanilla, and the more you go towards the edges, the more unhinged it gets. And this is the main reason why I can't zoom in. And you have specific character tags or relating to a specific topic. So dark green here is BTS mainly, or K-pop in general. So then down here you have like additional smaller blobs, and this blue here is My Hero Academia. Then you have Marvel here, you have Minecraft YouTubers here, quite strongly represented, and then you have Harry Potter here. And then there's also additional character information tags right here, which so a lot of stuff. This one is very fun to explore, but I can't show it here because age restricted. Yeah, so those are the different maps of fanfiction. Was a lot of fun to work on this. A little bit of a smaller project. I think, yeah, maybe I'll revisit this in the future and get more like statistical analysis going. But for now, it was just fun making these graphs. And I hope you also enjoy it. I will post them in full quality in the description so you can look at them yourself. I think that's the main takeaway here. Yeah, also have a happy new year and goodbye.